So welcome to the first edition of the Self-Care Shorts digital magazine. I'm hoping to inspire you to take control of your self-care, get organised and have the most productive life you can have. Here comes 2021. Got loads of ideas to share with you, all of them tried and tested, and some with the Self-Care Shorts seal of approval. I don't like to tell you about anything I haven't tried for myself. Sometimes I'll tell you about things I've tried that didn't work for me, but that still may have value for you. Because with self-care, how we manage ourselves is quite a personal thing. So just because it worked for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. But I'll tell you why it didn't work for me, so maybe you can then think about that when you try it for yourself. We all need all of the elements that are available to us to support us in some balance or other. That balance is the bit that is personal to us. For me, if I need to sort myself out, a run always does it. That doesn't mean that I don't have to keep an eye on my nutrition, my own personal nemesis that I'm trying to work on this year, and it doesn't mean that I haven't got to get the right amount of sleep. But exercise is my go-to fix. Yours may be different, but we've got to keep an eye on them all. Which day do you think we're at our most productive? You might be surprised to find that research seems to indicate we are at our most effective on a Tuesday. But why is this? Surely rested from the weekend, Monday would be our best day. But no, we spend Monday figuring out just what it is that we need to do. What shall we do with the mess we left behind on Friday when we hit the weekend? The secret is to make this Friday the most important day of next week. How you leave things on a Friday will have a direct impact on how productive you are next week. Friday afternoon, the research also shows us, is a low productivity point. So make use of this by spending the time planning next week. Make sure your diary's up to date. Make sure you have all of the things ready that you will need, phone numbers, reports, information, minutes from previous meetings, so that when you get to work on Monday, you can get straight to it. Figure out what you're going to do this Friday afternoon so you can be productive from the get-go on Monday morning. The benefits of outdoors. In 2017, researchers Eisenstark and Eberter wanted to see if time outdoors led to better attention on tasks and a strengthened family bond. They selected mother-daughter pairs where the daughter was between 10 and 12 years old. Firstly, they were tasked with going for a walk outside or around a shopping centre. Their ability to attend to a task was tested before and after the walk, and then they were asked to play a game together that required teamwork. And here's what they found. Those who benefited the most were the mother-daughter pairs who had walked in the natural setting rather than in the shops. Positive interactions between mother and daughter improved after the outdoors walk. Attention was improved for the mothers during the nature walk and during both walks for the daughter. The nature walk created a positive impact on both cohesion and closeness. The mothers and daughters were unanimous. The nature setting was more relaxed. John Muir said this: "Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their own freshness into you, and the storms their energy." Must-have books. This one is Caroline Webb's How to Have a Good Day. This is a must-have for anyone wanting to ace their day and be as productive as they possibly can be. It's a great cover-to-cover read that I keep dipping into on a regular basis. I love her concept of the PIT strategy. It goes like this: we must rest, and we must rest regularly. When a racing car is in the middle of the race, it periodically comes into the pit for maintenance, for new tyres or to refuel, or it wouldn't finish the race successfully. After the race, it takes a longer break in the garage where more comprehensive maintenance takes place. We need to develop such pit strategies for our pit stops. So I believe that we need a micro strategy, something we can do when we have a few minutes spare, maybe something like breathing exercises. We need a mid-range pitch strategy for when we have, say, half an hour or so, like a lunch break, for example. Maybe we take a walk and eat something healthy. And then we need a macro strategy for when we have a longer time. Maybe we get absorbed in a hobby, bake, go for a long walk or a bike ride. We need strategies to rest periodically, or we will run out of motivation and focus, which is usually in short supply on an afternoon or towards the end of the working week. We then need a big recharge on a weekend. Fear is not fact. In her podcast Checking In, Susan David, Professor of Psychology at the University of Nevada, said something interesting that piqued my attention. She said, fear is not fact. I pondered this because, to be honest, when I'm feeling fear, it feels pretty blinking factual to me. It's an emotion born out of whatever is going on around us. It's what is going on around us that we need to pay attention to, not the manifested emotion. That's what she was getting at. We don't have to respond, but rather, she suggests, we need to be compassionate with ourselves. She suggests that what we are after is noticing the feeling. We should notice it and create space to see the feeling for what it is. She says that in doing so, we hit what she calls choice points. I like to refer to them as boundary moments. A boundary moment is a point or a line where we can decide how to proceed. You can decide to be driven by your emotions, or you can decide to take a practical approach to solving whatever it is that is causing the emotion to manifest itself. I'd suggest that we need to be aware of our emotions, but not driven by them. We need to be driven by a practical, pragmatic response. We need to take a look at whatever the thing is, examine it, and plan how we deal with it. This is the analogy that David Allen uses of having a mind like water. When a rock is thrown into a still body of water, it creates ripples. The water accepts the energy of the rock and absorbs it. We need to be the same. Examine that thing that is causing us the emotion and absorb it pragmatically into our sphere of responsibility, or eject it from our sphere of responsibility if it's nothing to do with us. Your sphere of responsibility is the bubble that contains everything that is yours to deal with. By maintaining your sphere in order, you stand a chance of keeping the chaos out, or at least only letting in what legitimately needs to be let in. Unmanaged chaos creates stress. The problem with stress is that it is toxic. Stress has been shown to damage neurons in the hippocampus, leading to memory problems. The amygdala, the thing that drives our fight or flight stress response, is not affected or compromised by stress. In fact, it can grow larger when you are exposed to long-term stress. It can be aroused by stimuli that act as emotional reminders, even though you cannot recall the events that caused the stress in the first place. Think about the free-floating anxiety people often experience on a Sunday evening about work the next day. You're anxious but can't attach it to anything specific except it's Monday tomorrow. Over time, you can become consciously immune to the stress, not be aware of it, but continue to have a physical and emotional response to it. You are in fight or flight mode constantly. You respond emotionally and immediately without thinking. The problem for us, if we are experiencing constant stress, or any level of stress really, is that the body keeps the score. That's in the words of Bessel van der Kolk in his book of the same name. Long-term stress leads to physical problems, as well as the more obvious emotional and mental ones. Stress makes you ill, and you must do something about it. All the things I talk about here, in this digital magazine, on my blog, and in my books, help manage stress when applied consistently. It's not easy. Self-care is hardest when you most need it, because usually when you most need it is when you have the least time or motivation for it. But you must find the time and the motivation. Our workplaces, our families and our friends can all add to or reduce our stress, but but ultimately self-responsibility is essential. And I know that's a difficult message, but it's the reality of the situation. Your job may demand too much of you. Your family may need more from you than you can give. Your friends may need your shoulder from time to time. But, as I'm sure you've heard, you can't pour from an empty cup. In order to give, you have to give something back to yourself. You have to find internal order first, then find order in your sphere of responsibility. Then only let in the chaos that is genuinely yours to deal with.